Grace, I just sent you the link.
Okay. Waiting on it to come through. All right, it's posted. Let me go confirm that it's working correctly. All right, you good to go?
Thank you, Tracy. I'm bringing everyone in now.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yolanda, how's your mama? Y'all were in the hospital last time we met.
She is, well, we actually sent her home from the hospital on hospice. She's not eating,
Oh,
but she's
sorry.
79. So I'm just making memories and spending as much time as I can with her.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
Thoughts and prayers are with you, Miss Yolanda.
Thank you.
Yolanda. That's too bad. I think she's got a mother. Okay, Natalie. You got all these people? You want me to call who? You got Natalie, Patricia Wilson, Natalie, Tracy Morrow, Valinda.
Yeah, you do have a quorum, so you are able to start.
You're Valinda, Tabitha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have Tabitha.
We have a quorum for y'all if y'all want to start.
Okay, good. So you want me to read them? Do you have them? See? Tell me who you have. Melissa, Michelle, Natalie, Patricia, Tabitha, Tracy, Valinda, Yolanda, me, and Gay. We got them all. We're good.
Give me just a second.
Okay, Miss Gay, whenever you're ready.
All righty. Are we streaming? Don't we have to do that first, or we call
You're
it?
done. We're streaming live as we speak with a 20-second delay.
All righty. I was emailing Ashley.
Oh, thank you.
We'll call the meeting to order for the Clinical Laboratory Personnel Advisory Committee on October 10th, 2023 at 15:11. Public comments can be made at publiccomment@lsbme.la.gov. If there's anyone in person in attendance at the LSBME in New Orleans, comments are limited to 3 minutes. We will begin with our introductions of the committee members. My name is Gay Brunson. I'm committee chair. I represent administration. Angela?
I'm Angela Foley, and I represent one of the educator positions.
Valinda?
You are muted, Miss Valinda.
Hi, I'm Valinda Carmen, and I am a CLS analyst.
Melissa?
Hi, I'm Melissa Hamilton. I'm represent cytology.
Nadlin?
Nadlin Rito, I present education.
Yolanda?
Yolanda Bennett, I represent MLS.
Michelle?
Michelle Warner, I represent laboratory management.
Tabitha?
Hi, I'm Tabitha Whip. I represent MLTC.
All righty, that's the committee members. The first item on our agenda is old business and is approval of the minutes from September 21st, 2023. They were in the cloud share for everyone to review. Do we have any discussion on those?
What? Oh, well, I'm sorry,
minutes.
Gay. You
The
said the
minutes.
minutes. Okay.
I meant to. I don't know if I did or not.
You did say the minutes. If I can be given share privileges, I'll put it on the screen.
Dr. Cloudy, you could share.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Ms. Gay, can y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the beginning of the minutes. And this is the roll and people present, and this is the new business, what we did. And so if anybody has any questions about that or wants to see something, I hadn't seen it, let us know.
I move that they be accepted as written. It's Michelle Warner.
I second it. Tabitha Whip.
All right, so the motion has been made by Michelle to approve the minutes and seconded by Tabitha. All in favor of approval of the minutes as they're written, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The minutes have been approved. The first item of new business is the CEU contract. Dr. Van, can you pull that up?
Yes, ma'am. I'll pull it up right now. And it should be on your screen right now. It is exactly the same contract as last year with no increase in fees or change in service. All we did was change the years to reflect the 2024 year. But it is there for y'all to review if you want to go page by page.
I do have a question. I believe it was like on page 7 or 8. And I may have just misunderstood what it said, but it was the page before that. It was about how many continuing education units they would be providing. See if I can find it.
Okay. Continuing education. Let me do this. Let me search. And I'll do a search by education, EDUCATION. Okay, so let's see if we can find all of those cases. Next. Continuing education, is this what you're talking about?
No, sir, it was near the end of the document.
Okay, well, we'll go through it. That was everything.
Okay.
Let's go
keep going.
backwards.
It may have been listed as CEUs or something
Okay.
there.
Okay,
Well,
there.
that was it. Go back.
Okay,
I think what that says is that LSU New Orleans will have 8 and LSU Shreveport will have 8.
Okay.
It's under where they get paid.
Okay. So they're going to provide 16 hours.
So right there, stop. See,
Yes.
right there, LSU New Orleans 8. And then if you go down just a little bit, it says Shreveport, LSU Shreveport gets
It
8.
says 16. Oh, down there. Okay.
16.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
okay.
All right.
I move that it be accepted as proposed. Is that the right word?
Yeah, basically, if y'all approve it, it's gonna go to the board next Monday, get approved, and we'll sign off and get it in place.
All right. So Michelle has made a motion to approve this and move it to the board. Do we have a second?
I'll second it. Tabitha.
Tabitha, thank you. All right, the motion has been made to approve this contract and have Dr. Van present it to the board. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The next topic on their communication with employers of applicants. Patsy, did you put this on here?
I did, and I would like Dr. Van to address it because I think that sometimes we might not realize that we are not allowed to talk to employers about an applicant. Is that right, Dr. Van?
That is correct. We
Okay.
cannot tell them, technically, we cannot tell them the status of the license. We can't tell them anything except it's in process, and it's up to, then you should advise the licensee to contact the analyst to keep it up.
Okay, because I think when the people know each other, they're people are calling like members of the committee to find out things for them, and the analysts can only legally, and us as the committee can only legally talk to the applicant. So if there's a problem with the status or something, if the applicant wants to call with the employer there, that's fine, but the employer can't call and check on an applicant.
Put a regular patient sticker on that.
That's all.
I'll make a label later. Okay.
That's
Do we have
it.
any questions or discussion about that? Anyone? All righty. Well, next will be our rule revision and proposed changes to the law.
Is it okay if I pull my copy up?
A copy of what?
The rules of the work product.
The rules or the work product?
Okay, well, here's the thing. I'm just going to make a suggestion to you. You can start the rules first. But what you need to understand is that we first have to change the law. Once the law is changed, then we will change the rules. But remember, we're going to propose a law, but we don't know what's going to come out the other end. So I would be more concentrating on what you want in the law and what's in the rules, because whatever comes out of the end of the process is what's going to determine what the rules have to say.
I understand that
I think she was just-
perfectly.
I think, pardon me for interrupting. I think she just wanted to know if she could share her screen as opposed to
Okay,
off your screen.
Yeah,
That's
that's
fine.
that's all I
Thank-
want to know. And I understand perfectly what you're saying, but Ms. Wilton, I think did a great job of looking at
Oh, yeah.
our rules and then doing that work product. So we tried to compare just to see if, everything seemed to have been covered. We also went back to the original law, to compare with that as well. So anyway, we can pull the rules up first or the law first. It doesn't matter.
pull it up. You can share your screen. Go right ahead. I'm
Okay.
done.
So Dr. Van, are you advising that once we get through with our discussion today, that we only approve
My shit.
the law and then wait and see what comes of that before we approve the rules?
That's what I would do, but if y'all want to spend time doing the rules, they might have to change based upon what comes out of the legislature. That's up to y'all. Y'all can do that exercise and futility any way you want.
Well, I mean, I understand that perfectly, but I still think that we ought to put our eyes on the rules one more time, just to make sure that this is what we want. Okay, so either way we do it.
We have to make sure that when we do propose in the law, we'll get it where we want to be in the rules. So
Or
I mean,
vice
I don't care
versa.
which one we
Yeah,
do
okay.
first. It doesn't matter.
All right. So can everyone see the rules?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, before I do anything, everyone had them for 2 weeks to kind of look at. Were there any issues or parts that you want to bring up that you think are a problem or need to be edited?
Angela, the one thing that struck out to my mind, and I just want to comment on it, is in the law, when we go to the law, it talks about we took away accredited and we didn't put in nationally recognized on the courses of study that are approved. But we'll talk about that when we get to the law. That's the only thing that I know that I
It's a
found to be.
problem. And I mean, it's gonna come up, okay? Yeah.
Well,
there's
remember,
some-
we got some support And they had 2 years to do it. And if they didn't do it, they wouldn't be able to keep going. So I think that we got to some support. Y'all have a good guardian angel and the vice chairman of the Health and Welfare Committee. And I think with his support, you can get this to say a nationally certified, approved nationally certified examination, a course of study, or anything else you want. But I think the key is if you don't want it nationally recognized certification exam, then you got to tell it what it is, because I think we're going to make sure that that's what you want.
You wanna talk about that?
Okay, well, so that comes up in the very beginning of this highlighted part of this document. So we went back and forth between recognized and accredited. With Ms. Wilton's latest work product, she put accredited.
No, it's marked out. There's a
Well,
line there.
Patsy and I marked it out because this is really the definition of a nationally recognized exam. It's not the definition of a nationally recognized exam that from an accredited certifying agency. So this definition is the definition of a approved nationally recognized certification examination. So and the reason that, so if we want to say accredited does come up later when it talks about the qualifications for the MLS and the MLT.
But technically, the exam is not accredited. The agency is accredited.
Yes.
That is correct.
Okay.
But
Anybody
this
have any
definition
comments on that?
actually Is of recognized.
This definition is for just a nationally recognized certification exam.
Okay.
Because it doesn't say that the agency administering the exam has to be accredited by a national accrediting agency.
But in the qualifications, it does talk about that.
So we'll
But
get to
it'll-
that.
Yeah, so, but that definition is correct for recognized.
Okay, so this is in the rules, and there's nothing in the law that defines, right, Patsy?
Yeah.
There's nothing in the law that defines a recognized versus accredited, as far as we can tell. Okay, anyway, is everybody okay with leaving that as recognized for right now? As we go forward, I guess, if I say that and no one has objections, I'm assuming that these edits are okay. We can vote at the end for
Okay.
everything.
That sounds good.
Okay, and so this that's highlighted here is just a name change of this organization.
Okay.
These are approved organizations, not for certifying people, but for providing continuing education. But
And,
if you
yeah,
see
okay, that's
here,
what I'm right here.
right. So when Pat and I looked at this last time, and I can tell you we have spent hours looking at these two documents, but we decided rather than list them in our rules, since they're now published on the website,
On CE Broker.
on CE Broker,
Why don't
we were wondering if we could just put in this public, so education and our training programs published in the electronic tracking system of the board. If we can accept that, then we can do without naming all these individual organizations. And that way it can be fluid. You know, if one goes away and one comes on
change their
or gets
name or
approved by
whatever.
the committee, then it's not, hard in black and white in the rules.
A question, Angela.
Yes.
If somebody comes in, it's going to have to wait till you all have a meeting that gets recommended by this advisory committee and then goes to the board and the board approves it. Then it can go on CE Broker. It can't go on CE Broker until
Until that
this committee recognizes it and the board approves it.
Well, you mean we've already approved all those organizations.
Angela, you just finished saying some may drop out and some may come in. So before we can add a new one,
Oh, the
we would have to have
committee
the
has to vote on
advisory.
it.
The advisory committee has to vote on it and the board has to vote on it. So there may be a delay in that regard. I just want to be sure we're comfortable with that process.
Well,
But wouldn't there be,
regardless, if it, whether it's in the rules or, it doesn't matter. Can we delete all these?
but wouldn't there be a delay the same if they're
Yes.
listed in these, or if they're listed
take longer to
electronically?
change.
These rules haven't been changed in 35, 40, I don't know, since 1995.
I understand, but if they can change, if how we change them will be the same, whether we change them through electronics or we
Right.
change them through this list. So I think.
No,
probably-
that's not exactly correct, Michelle. I'm sorry to interrupt you. When you take one of these names off or add a new name to this list, it has to go through the rule promulgation process. And Angela is right in making it less time consuming. To add somebody could take as much as 8 or 9 months. And sometimes longer because of the state laws for rule promulgation. And
I'm
Ms. Wolf-
What
agreeing
if
with
they're not
Angela.
listed in our rules? What if
Is-
we only list them electronically?
Again, we can post the list, adjusting it very easily without a rule change.
That's what.
I'm
So-
agreeing with all of y'all that sounds like a much easier process than putting them through all these rules. I am
I'm happy for that.
Okay,
I'm good for that.
Delete all of that.
so all of these will be deleted.
Does the rules need to say that, the process that Dr. Van just mentioned, that the, committees are, that the continuing education organizations are approved by the committee and submitted to the board? Does it need to say that?
Probably.
They are recommended by the committee and approved by the board.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
maybe we can add that, published in the electronic, let's see, education, we could put it, organization. This is just a definition of what an approved professional organization is, but I guess we could add right here, these organizations,
For the purposes of continuing education is what they are, and they'll be published in the electronic tracking.
we have that, but how do we say in here that these organizations can be recommended to the committee?
Well,
And then the
look, right
committee
here,
can
where your definition begins, approved professional organizations / it's an organization recommended by the committee and approved by the board to offer continuing education and/or training programs. These committees are posted on the electronic tracking system. I mean, not committees, these organizations.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put a period here and I'm gonna put
Organizations are
these-
posted on.
these approved organizations are published in the electronic tracking system of the board. Is that okay?
Yeah.
You want me to say it differently than that?
No, what does it say at the after approved professional organization at the bottom? Yeah, no, I think that looks fine.
To offer continuing education and or training programs. These approved organizations are published in the electronic tracking system of the board. Is there any better way to say that? Okay,
Nope.
And delete all the organizations.
yeah,
We
I've
did that already.
deleted them. Okay, moving on. So this was just, I found another clinical instead of medical laboratory scientist categorical.
I have a
Mhm.
question. I have a question right here on this page. The medical laboratory scientist and the medical laboratory technician, their definitions are so different. Why does it not better represent what they actually are? Is like one has
Well, you want to address that, Patsy?
Let me get where I can read it.
One of the reasons was Where are the ones with track changes?
Go to the top of the second column is the rest of the MLTs, and it reads the same. Do you see where it continues on to the top of the second column? See, there's the rest of the MLTs.
Yeah,
We
but-
tried not to change the rules too much from what they said
Okay. Well, it just
previously.
it was curious as to me, as one said is stated in CLIA, and then the other one is gonna go define 42 Code of the Federal Register 49.
Which is clear. So I
Which is
guess we
clear.
could, you want to just say as stated in
Oh,
that,
I think that's better.
that was the way it was in the original rules for whatever the reason was. But we could stay as stated in clear. That might be cleaner.
I think it is.
they're
As
the
defined
same.
in clear.
They're both the same thing. That federal regs, part 493 is where you will find
Yeah.
the CLIA regs that define MLTs.
Right.
They're both basically the same. It's just
Okay,
one
and it's,
somebody where to
it's-
go find it.
I'm good if you leave it. I just was curious as to why.
I have been curious about that too, and we decided they both were basically the same thing. But this is where we do need to stop. Because, no, I'm sorry, it's not here. It's where it comes up for qualifications. Okay,
Okay.
we're good.
All
All
right,
right, so
so
clinical to medical, that's nothing. Now, this is, remember at the last meeting, we decided we were gonna put back the temporary permit. Y'all remember that?
yeah, because it's still in the law too.
Yes. So
Do you want it in the law and do you want it in the rules?
Yes,
they
Okay.
do. The lab managers want it,
yes,
right, Gay?
yes.
Stick up for
Yes.
yourself
Yes.
and Michelle.
I would like to bring up an issue, and I think that I think the employers will agree. But I think a temporary permit is fine. I understand why the employers want one, because the ASCP is very slow in getting back to score report. So that keeps somebody from working and keeps you from having an employee for a long time. So my thinking is that you get one temporary permit, no renewals. To me, if you don't pass it, you don't need to be working in that category. You've showed me that you're not qualified. So
Well,
the vast majority of them will pass and will not be a problem. So
I've heard the educators say that the students these days are not taking the test seriously. And
that's a shame.
well, I know, but and as an employer, just because someone has their license and their registry does not mean I'm going to let them work in my lab.
Oh, no, I know. I agree.
So, I mean, it's like having a registered Labrador. They don't all retrieve ducks. So
I love that analogy, Gay.
but
And how long do you keep that dog before you get rid of it and get one that does get ducks?
well, I'll end up getting a dog that didn't have a registry.
Yeah.
Well, but again, this is a different
I know.
situation.
I know, but I still think that not everyone is a test taker. Not everyone is going to pass the first time, and they're going to be a top-notch tech. I mean, just because they failed the test once, I don't think it means that they're not a good tech, But then again, if you give them enough time in their temporary permit to get 2 tests in there.
That's 6 months. That's a half of a year. I think that's too long.
Well, then we need to let them extend it, because still, once they take that test, it's taken what, 5 or 6 weeks for them
It takes a
to
long time to
get everything to the board for their license to be active. Even if they've passed their test, it's
Well,
still they have to be
we
extended.
need to impress on them that they can't wait. That they have to have at least a month. They need to take the test at least a month before they expect to have to get a score report.
I don't think they're going to get their license in a month.
But what happens if it's not available for them to take it like that?
It is.
I agree
it
with
is-
Kate. I think they should be allowed one extension or
They-
one.
they-
I think so. I think it should be, I think not everybody passes. Most people pass the first time, but we've had great techs that didn't pass the first time. And so I think they need another.
What if we just extend the temporary permit for 6 months so that you're not involved in trying to renew?
That
it?
would be better because I've had students, they graduated in May. Students had everything to the LSBME, and it still took them maybe 8 weeks to get their temporary license. So even when they have everything in on time and have
Well-
passed their test, they're still not getting it. And
Thanks.
also another thing, students, they delay their test because of the fee. So if they graduate in May, I always recommend that they take it no later than the first week in June. But again, due to funds, they push it back to the end of June. And if they've done all their paperwork, they don't realize that time has been eaten up by them waiting, or like they said, getting a test date that is soon enough.
I agree with what Angela just said about let's just make it 60 days with no renewal.
Or
60
she
you
said
mean
6 months.
6 months with no renewal, right? Right now you got it at 3 months and then they can opt for renewal, but
Well,
a lot
no,
of
but
times
right
we're
now
handing up.
we
Right
were
now.
taking the renewal at 3
3
months
months.
away. But I mean, y'all are lab managers, you're out there in the trenches working. If you are happy with a 6-month temporary permit,
I think.
I think that would make it very clear. Your license, if it is not in hand at the end of 6 months, you have no income.
Right.
done.
Alexa's got
There's-
her hand up.
I didn't want to like just try to jump over everybody and start speaking. I thought that I remembered temporary permits requiring there to be oversight, but I don't see anything in here. If somebody has a temporary permit, are they fully licensed to work in a laboratory without any oversight? Meaning these are students who haven't sat for a test. And so we're saying for 6 months, they could work in a hospital by themselves with no one else on site.
That's what he
that's
said.
what you're saying. Because a trainee, a trainee cannot sign out results, but somebody with a temporary permit, we used to call it a temporary license, they can sign out results.
The law states that they are licensed to engage in the practice of clinical laboratory science in the category for which he is qualified.
That is
would be
correct.
everything for a scientist, like a medical
Yes.
laboratory scientist would be anyway. So I'm just saying, I mean, I know you're saying in your lab managers are in the trenches working, understand how that's going to apply. But that also means maybe like a rural hospital, your MLT that's not even sat for a test could be working independently in a laboratory with no one else there, blood bank, whatever they have going on in MLS, like with no certification attempt with a temporary permit for 6 months.
Do they qualify in Arkansas to work? I mean, would CLIA let them work in Arkansas?
Without a certification?
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Van Hess is hand raised.
My only comment, Ms. Gay, would be, remember that we've kind of done this backwards and now you're going back the other way.
Yeah.
We're going to change the rules to what we want them to read. Then we're going to change the law to conform to the rules. So if you want the people to get 6 months, 2 months, whatever months you decide, we're going to change the law next once you settle on the rules. But we've been fighting over the rules for so long, we can't change the law until we finish. And the other thing I need to tell everybody is, I don't care if they've got everything in, except we cannot give them a temporary permit by the board's order unless they have cleared their criminal background check. Now, we have slowed that. That's been a very slow process, but it's much improved. The difficulty we have is when it is a positive criminal background check, and that takes a great deal of time because it goes through our investigations department. So I want everybody to understand, if it's a no problem criminal background check, we are now getting them back in anywhere from 3 to 5 sometimes 7 days. So That's not the issue for us anymore. We've changed that system. But if it's a positive, let's say they were arrested for attempted murder, or they were arrested for DWI, that goes to investigations, and the investigations then makes a recommendation to license, to modify the license, and if the board has said nobody gets the permit unless they have passed the criminal background check. So I want everybody to understand, when you say it takes some time, the only delay would be a positive criminal background check these days.
Okay, wait, one more, I just want to bring up one more item. I know that what students tell their instructors, what graduates tell their employers, that I send everything in, but I can tell you from my experience that a very large percentage of the time, everything is not in. You know, and they cannot take the exam on September the 6th, and their temporary permit expires on September the 8th, and think they're gonna get their temporary license, their full license, because they passed. Because that score report has to come into the board, and we can't do anything until it does. So they can't wait until 2 days before their license, their temporary permit expires to take the test. And I know that they tell employers, I sent everything in, and then when I check on it, everything's not in. So you have to take what they say. It's not 100%. I'm just saying. As many times as not, I check and everything is not in.
Well, we have to decide what y'all want to do with this.
So you're saying if we give them 6 months to take it, if they fail the first time, they have to arrange they need to get another time, and they have to have a score report in, but they can't take it 2 days before the 6 months is up.
No, when it
And
expires, it
it's done.
expires.
Yeah. So they can take it more than one time in 6 months, I know. But that would be all up to them. Right now, they have to apply for a second temporary permit. And if they don't send me a page that says what time and date they're taking it, they don't get one.
Well, as Angela said, the 6 month would be easier for you.
It will. It would, yes. It makes them more responsible. But like you say, if they don't have a license at the end of the 6 months, then they don't get paid. They can't work anymore.
Right.
Can we add that? Just, I mean, not those words, but can we say it's a 6 month with no chance of renewal?
I
Oh, yeah,
think
we
I-
have it in there
it
like
comes
that.
up,
Okay.
it comes up later. You know, this is just definition of what a temporary.
We have it
permit
in there
is.
right now for 3 months and you can't renew, but we can change it to 6 months and you can't renew.
Okay. Well, the definition is set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this was basically the definition before of a temporary. I think it said temporary license, but Patsy says we don't call it a license. we
They
call
don't,
it
if the board calls
call it a-
otherwise.
permit. Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
so moving past this, and this, I think we just missed this certification. We don't certify anybody anymore. We give them either a license or permit.
Okay.
Okay, so that's just housekeeping stuff. Doesn't change. And this change right here is
Oh.
they're called respiratory therapists, not pulmonary function technicians.
Hey, I have a question back here under trainee,
Uh-huh.
section B, that graduate of a NACLS program. That's not in the law.
I asked you about
Everything in
that.
the rules doesn't have to be in the law, I don't think.
But why is it in there?
It's in there because. Wait, let me think of why. I told you that one. We came up with a reason.
No,
'cause I
you
was gonna
came up.
delete
I
it.
didn't know what you were
I
talking
was gonna
about.
delete it. And then
If they've graduated from a NACLS program, does that not mean they have a degree?
they should have a degree.
An individual has not fulfilled their education requirements.
And they're not going to graduate from a NACLS program if they haven't fulfilled their requirements, have they? Will
This
they?
is an individual who has not fulfilled the educational requirements to take and approve. I don't know why that's there.
Well, maybe we need to take it out.
I never
Yeah,
could
misunderstand.
understand why that.
Take it out.
All right, we'll take it out. I think we did go back and forth over that.
Yeah, okay.
And so this would then become,
We can do that
B.
kind of stuff later.
okay, all right, we're good.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that? Oh, you said because it could be,
I had a reason now, I don't remember what it was.
a graduate. This is a B, a trainee. This person who hasn't done the education, who's just an on-the-job trainee, they could be. This trainee would be a person who has graduated from a program. Why? Well, I don't know. We'll take it out. Okay, let's just take it out. Because it's not going to affect the law, I don't believe. Okay. So now we're going to qualifications. And this is where a nationally accredited, so the main two categories that I understand that we want to hold that language for the certifying agency to be an accredited agency were for the MLS and the MLT. And so this is where it did get left in, a nationally recognized certification exam administered by a nationally accredited agency approved by the board. So it's there for the MLS and it's there for the MLT, the same language. It's not there for the categorical because there are some of these specialties that have certifying examinations that these agents, they're out there practicing, and these agencies are not nationally
There's
accredited.
not one available.
There's not an exam in that category that's being administered by an agency that has national accreditation. Is that why, am I saying that right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, these are in our rules.
We didn't change that.
Well, we might have.
No, we didn't. Not from when we
We didn't
approved
have-
this the last.
No, we didn't change this from when we approved
That's
it
what
the
I'm
last
saying.
time. This is how it was approved.
Okay.
Okay, so this, the only thing that was changed here, since y'all have seen that copy from 2 weeks ago, is the name of the association for, American Association for Clinical Chemistry, AACC, is now the Association for Diagnostics and Laboratory Medicine. That's per Larry Broussard. Okay, so that's the only change there. So we listed these. And if you notice, and then we said other certifying organizations approved by HHS or the board. So it leaves it open for if there are other agencies that, need to be added. Okay.
Okay.
All right, here is, Patsy asked that this be put in because when she's looking at applications for lab assistants, she says some of these lab assistants will show you what they call a high school diploma, and it's
It's
from,
made at home.
yeah, like it's homeschool people that I don't know, they're not really a state approved.
Well, there are state approved homeschools.
Yes,
And to me, equivalent to a high school diploma is something that is approved by the Department of Education.
So she asked us to, instead of just possess a high school diploma, she wanted to say from a school recognized by a state department of education or a GED. Is that okay with y'all? Any objections to that?
So, I'm gonna look at that language because the one that came up, Patsy, was that girl from Texas, from that pay your fees and get your Cs. And it wasn't a school that was recognized by Texas, but Texas law had this weird deal where they, I mean, it gets kind of murky because even in Louisiana, you can have a homeschool program that's not through a quote unquote accredited or recognized. There's multiple tracks of how you can get homeschooled.
So if you are homeschooled from one of those kind of homeschooling situations where it's not approved by the State Department of Education, and you want to go on to get a college degree or an associate degree, or go to secondary education, is that acceptable in the state of Louisiana?
It depends. And it depends. And the problem that we have there is it's not only is it acceptable in Louisiana, but for instance, this Texas girl, could she have gone to a Texas university or further education based on this thing that she got from this, I'm gonna say wacky, I'm not trying to defame anybody, but it was kind of a wacky deal. So I agree that we need to tighten up this language. I would like the opportunity to do a little more research to figure out exactly how to say it that protects us, but doesn't create confusion. Because there are going to be homeschool programs that are not, recognized, but I guess recognized, maybe that works. But I'm going to put a big star on this for myself. We can definitely go with it like this. And then, but if I can make it a little bit better, I will.
That would be great.
Whatever you do.
That would be
Okay.
great.
Okay. So nothing has changed. So then we had to put back in under this category, under this section, which is returning practitioners or reinstatement of a lapsed license. And here we have, so this should say temporary permit. I couldn't remember. Should this say temporary permit?
Permit.
It should say permit. Okay, I went back and forth about this. Okay. Anyway, go ahead and read that. It does say permit, okay. Okay, this is where it says 3 months. So y'all want to change that to 6? Alexa doesn't want it, but I'm not. It's really not, whatever. Well,
For me to say.
is that what everybody wants to do? Y'all want to vote on that?
No, they're gonna vote on that.
Okay. Okay, we're good.
No, because it says the individual must refrain from the practice of clinical lab science. And that's not what the law currently says.
No, I changed that. Look at this. It
No.
doesn't say.
But what you're gonna, remember, we're doing this backwards. You're gonna
I know.
change the law after you change the rules.
Well,
So we're
why,
gonna-
we may not want to change the law. We may like the law.
Oh, okay, but I thought we were changing the rules and then we're gonna change the law to conform to the rules.
Well, it doesn't matter if that temporary permit is for 4 years. If they can't, right there, you've got a sentence that says allows them
Where?
to
Show me, Gary.
engage in the practice. That means release results.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And then the next sentence says no, but really you can't release results. Those
No, it
contradict each
doesn't.
other.
No, it just says the temporary permit will be valid for 6 months and may not be renewed.
Keep
And-
reading.
Okay, After 6 months, they cannot engage in the practice of clinical laboratory science if they don't renew it. If it can't be renewed. After 6 months, they cannot. They're done. They
No,
have
no.
to get a real license.
No, that's not what that says. Your thing's blocking it. It says the individual must refrain from the practice of clinical lab science until successful completion of the appropriate national recognized
Okay,
exam.
it says
think
the
that's after the
temporary
6 months is
permit
what they're
will be
saying.
valid for 6 months. and
Okay.
may not be
That's
renewed.
not how okay, that's,
But I'm saying, once it expires, you want me to make it in there more clear?
well, I may be
It
the only
means
one
that
that,
once it's expired, they're
You
done.
have to refrain.
You can no longer, and I can say no longer, an individual can no longer practice clinical laboratory science. An individual can no longer,
well, is it even, it's redundant. If you don't have your permit, you can't practice.
you want me to just delete this? The temporary permit will be valid for 6 months and may not be renewed?
Period.
Okay,
I mean, really, I mean, if you don't have a permit and you don't have a license, you can't practice clinical
you
lab
go with that?
science.
So earlier, Michelle was saying we should add a statement. When we were talking about the definitions, Michelle was saying add a statement in there at that point, and they were saying it's clarified down further in the definitions. I think this is what they were meaning, the point that it's clarified, that it's for the 6 months, it can't be renewed, and at that point you can no longer work. Remember when she was saying, like, add a statement in there, not necessarily saying you can't get paid anymore. This is the point that it
Well,
clarifies it.
then maybe
You-
do
I
that
think you're-
instead of,
I
maybe
think
instead
you're
of
right
saying,
that maybe changing the language a little bit instead of how
Instead
it
of-
must refrain from saying and can no longer would maybe clarify, Gabe, what you're saying, that isn't attached to, they cannot practice while they have the temporary licensure. It's just once it expires, it can't be renewed and they can no longer perform clinical laboratory science or practice clinical laboratory science.
well, Alexa, maybe as you said right there, that first and after renewed, maybe if that says at that point, the individual must refrain. But they can't, but this, you don't want to say that. If you say at that point, the individual, ooh,
It's okay.
because then it makes it sound like, okay,
How
once you
Angela
pass.
said it. I think how Angela said it, and may no longer practice clinical laboratory science
Yeah.
until.
But I don't think it needs to say until you pass the test, because then that makes it sound like if you're 8 months out and you pass the test, you get to practice lab work. No, you have to have a license.
Right, until you're fully licensed, but I'm not sure what the right language is for that.
Yeah, I see you. I see what you.
So what do y'all want it to say?
Just don't put anything. about
And,
it.
okay, may not,
Successfully
and
passing
the
the test.
individual must refrain from the practice of clinical laboratory science at
Science,
that
period.
point,
Well, at that point, well.
at that point. And then get rid of that, the rest of it.
Okay, so we want to leave. I just have science, period.
No. Maybe after science, the individual must refrain from the practice of laboratory science at that point. Oh, you deleted it.
I know, but I'm just gonna type it back. And
Okay.
individual must refrain from the practice of clinical laboratory science
At that point.
at that time.
Okay.
Okay, I guess. I don't know.
Now you are getting a little redundant. The temporary permit will be valid for 6 months and may not be renewed. I think period, you could just.
Well, that's where we had it.
And in the circle.
That's what we had. Oh, well, I didn't mean to do that because it didn't track the change. Okay. Why is it erasing it? It doesn't, I don't know. Anyway. I want to delete this. It just keeps deleting it.
What about is no longer authorized to practice clinical, whatever?
Yeah,
But I think I think one can infer that if you no longer have a permit, you can't do it.
And practice.
So the
Yeah.
language Out until you pass the test, definitely I agree with taking that out. But either way is fine. If
Is that it?
Yeah, I think period there. You from having to go in circles, Gay.
Yeah,
You can and can't do what you have to do. That's all
Yeah.
already defined in the licensure. If you can't renew it, then you are no longer authorized, and you just have to go to the section where you can get authorized, which is pass your test. But maybe here it doesn't need to kind of circle the drain.
is that okay? Gay?
I'm good with it, whatever everybody else thinks.
Okay. I think it says what we wanted to say.
Okay.
So this for applying for a lab assistant license. This is, again, maybe Patricia, you could check on this. Patsy said copy of high school transcript or GED.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. This was just changing, this was adding the permit to if they want a duplicate permit. Yeah, and this is all stuff that we, is all part of the law that was added. We didn't make any changes in here. All this unprofessional conduct, I think, comes from those new changes to the law.
Okay, Paula Pickford called me and said that the definition of unprofessional conduct in the law and the rules are not the same. One of them, I think in the rules, it's incorrect, and it's actually the definition for MDs. So that needs to be corrected, but we can do that.
Maybe Miss Wilton can do
yeah.
that because it just has to match whatever it says in the law.
Yeah.
Sure, I can match that up.
Yeah,
Okay, well, make a note. of it.
okay.
Should I put a note in here or we don't have to worry about it?
Oh, yeah, put a little note in it just so when I go back to it, but
Yeah.
I have the video. I can see.
Yeah.
Change definition to be compatible with law, with current law, I guess I could say, right? Is that good?
Or with the intended law.
Just say.
No, y'all had that passed 2 years ago.
It's already in there.
But again, Angela, I never know, and you never know what's going to come out of the legislature when they finish amending the law. And so all I'm saying is Miss Wilton can put it in now, but if it's changed in the law during the process of opening your practice act, the rules will have to change to conform to the practice act that comes out of the session of the
Right, but
legislature.
y'all just had this voted on by the legislature 2
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, just
Okay.
say, just change, just say, yeah, I know what it means.
Okay, okay. So, so what do y'all want to do? Do you want to now go to the rules?
Now go to the law.
I mean, the law, I'm sorry, the law?
Yes,
Okay. So this is the, Ms. Wilton's work product. I mean, anything, so she said things in red or her original changes, anything in blue is a new edit.
it's not up there, Angela.
Oh, I didn't share my screen. Okay, my new share. Okay, sorry. Okay. Can y'all see it now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so nothing here changed from
Oh, go
what,
back up.
oh, okay.
You
What?
don't really want that accredited marked out, do you? Or you do?
Yes.
I think we do.
Wait, where
The
is it?
schools are accredited.
Oh, yeah, schools are accredited.
You don't want that accredited marked out.
Okay, okay, I don't know why that, I didn't mark that out. Miss Wilton marked that out.
Yeah, that means.
So I want to reject that change, right? You don't say reject. Where is reject? Reject. Okay. Did I do it? Reject?
I don't know. Go back to the
Yes, that
first.
was the reject and it moves you to the next edit, which
But it didn't reject it. It's still crossed out.
that I think cross-
Usually, usually there's a reject the change, but here it just says,
Can you highlight it in yellow? Just so she'll know.
yeah.
Or just type the word in again without a line through it.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
All right, so this is all just the name. Really, y'all, this is one of the most important things if we can get the law changed for just the name changes. I would, it would be awesome. So here, cytologist was spelled wrong. So I just wanted to let y'all know that I fixed that. So I can take this out because I don't think anybody cares about that. And, oh, no, that's right. This is it. This is it. This is her work product. I didn't change any of this. So she took out which do not require the exercise of independent judgment or responsibility because MLTs do high complexity testing that do require or, you know, the exercise of
correct.
independent judgment. So that was in our law, which is not,
Always wrong.
it was always wrong. Okay. And then the without additional licensure or certification, we just took that out. She took it out according to what we had asked for. Okay, she added advisory committee. And then it has to be the laboratory assistant can do waived and moderate complexity testing. She added in not, because in
important.
our old law, it said the lab assistant may perform high complexity testing. And that is not in accordance with
That was
CLIA,
a typo.
that, whatever, anyway.
Wrong always.
The lab assistant may not perform. I think in the original CLIA, it said they could, and then they amended it to say that they couldn't, but it doesn't matter.
Hey, just a reminder, we got 45 minutes.
Okay, so let's go. We don't, this is not that long.
Good. Yeah, it looks
I
good.
mean, assuming everybody's looked at it. This instrument operation was added. Actually, Alexa asked us to add that. And Miss Wilton did it. Lab specialty, this is just a definition. And it says, and Patsy wanted me to add this, the trainee will not be allowed to report results, so that it would be in the law. Okay?
Okay.
And then temporary permit means a permit for a graduate that was misspelled, so I corrected the spelling. I'm just gonna do that. Okay. And who is eligible for employment and training and is allowed to report results. So the temporary permit person can report results as long as their permit is still valid. And so at one time it said will not be allowed to report results. So this is what we want. Okay. This is just, she changed pulmonary function technician to respiratory therapist. And then if you go back to the original law, there all these things about things that can be done in a physician's office lab, they're all wave tests. We never needed to list all those. So she's correctly said that they, you know, that they are going to be deleted, right, Patricia?
Yes, but just for purposes of keeping this memo to a reasonable, I just didn't reproduce all those
The
deletions.
deletions,
Not needed.
okay, all right. And I think the numbering is gonna have to be changed somewhere in here. I don't think it's, maybe this isn't where it is. Maybe these, I think these
That's
numbers,
probably right. Yeah, that's
these
probably.
numbers I think are okay.
Hey, Angela,
Yes,
can you scroll up just a little bit? Okay, so
Yes.
I noticed when I was reviewing this, and I may be reading this incorrectly or
Okay.
missing something, but I noticed where, okay, so you have her green part where all the things that were deleted, but we're just not going to reproduce them
Yeah,
for the sake of
mhm.
the document. 5 and
Mhm.
6 are deleted. Then I noticed D has this part shall not apply to marked out. So I was trying to figure out what exactly were.
it's very convoluted. These are exemptions to licensure, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Patricia, you want to
Part shall
explain
not
this?
apply to-
Because
Sure.
it's very
This part shall
convoluted.
not apply to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we didn't need to restate it shall not apply to again.
Okay, so this is like an inclusive list of all the things that it's not going to apply to, and we're just not going to keep stating that over and over. Is that
Right,
correct?
right.
Okay.
What D currently says in the law, Alexa, D says this part shall not apply to any individual performing phlebotomy or acting as a phlebotomist employed by or acting under the direct supervision of a physician licensed by the board, a clinic operated by a licensed healthcare provider, a hospital, a nursing home, or other licensed healthcare facility. That's removing that.
Right, but we're just striking the last part. I think I was a little confused why this part shall not apply to was removed, but I think it's probably because C was so long.
Yes.
Taking that out altogether that it didn't need to be restated.
Right, and probably they may have added, I don't remember, but they may have added it later too, so they just tacked on another, this shall not apply to. And once y'all get everything straight today, then what we'll circulate is the way it actually will read, a clean copy of how it'll actually read.
And that
And-
makes sense. You're right, it probably was added later. That makes sense how it was going down.
So it says the law is not gonna apply to somebody performing phlebotomist, but actually.
Or
didn't-
forensic testing, or people instructing people how to use an instrument in the state, things like that.
But didn't the law get changed about phlebotomists 2 years ago?
You mean like 2 months ago?
This year.
Yeah, 2 months
2
ago.
months ago.
Oh, well,
Last
2
year,
months, 2
this past
years.
session,
Who's-
this
The
past
only
session.
thing that really got changed, I think, is the fact that it says that those people. It happened because of Quest, and Quest has all those satellites that don't have direct supervision by a physician. So they wanted that not to be a problem. They didn't
And we
want
will-
to. Go ahead.
And Pat will conform that to the new law.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah,
the new law is not what's on the LSBME website?
No, not yet, because they haven't published it in the come out the final edition of it.
Gotcha.
They haven't approved the final edition yet, but it's what they did approve through legislation was that instead of needing the direction and supervision of a physician licensed by the board, that it needs to be in a CLIA certified lab, because they all hold certificate of waiver, which could be somebody with a business degree over that, or, I mean, so as long as you have a CLIA certificate,
They
that's
can
what the
draw the
law
line.
would be, that they're not required to have licensure for this nature.
the one thing, so we kind of lost that battle, except that I think the way the law is written, you can't just get your little car or van and be a phlebotomist,
And go to
right?
somebody's
That's
house.
correct.
Yeah,
That's
So-
correct.
we didn't
That
win
was
the
the-
whole battle, but at least we,
That was the major intent of that.
Yeah.
for phlebotomy.
Okay, well, make a note. You've already got something that you need to go back in the rules and change. Because they do not match that.
for the.
Let's finish the
phlebotomist-
law first, please.
No, we don't, there's nothing about what a phlebotomist does that it would be. I don't think there's a conflict here.
Okay, I'll send you an email. But I think it is. It's,
Okay,
That's
all
fine.
right, here. Well, I'm gonna do this. Just change wording to conform to current law. Is that all
I
right?
think you actually have to publish it before you can, though.
Well, we
Okay.
can't do
Before they
anything
publish
until after
law.
we get,
Yeah, but she
change
can
anyway.
still change it for, for future. I mean, this isn't gonna get approved for a long, long time. May never get approved, right? Okay.
okay, all right, moving on.
Oh, this is our old name. So,
Okay, I have a question there.
uh-huh.
Do we want to, because all the other people have changed their state names to ASCLS dash whatever the state is.
that came up in the state before and they didn't want
Oh,
it.
but do we want to change, maybe put a slash mark that says the Louisiana chapter of ASCLS?
Well, what about or its successor? I've seen people do that, they just say or its successor.
Then we wouldn't have to go back and change this again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How about,
Yeah.
can I say or its successor? I don't know. Can you do that, Patricia?
Or can you say ASCLS or the state? I'm not sure. I'm sure.
State chapter?
Thank you. Chapter is right, not version.
I mean, you can say, whatever you want. The problem arises down the road when those things change and they get slippery, and then you have to go in and change it every time.
Well, could we say or its successor?
Yes. You
Okay,
absolutely
that's what I want to do. That's what I would like to do.
Okay.
So if LSCLS becomes LSCL, ASCLS, LA, that would be the successor organization.
Okay.
Okay. This was there's another place in the law, I believe, that's not in this work product where Louisiana Society for Clinical Laboratory Science needs to be changed or something. I don't know. Ms. Wilton, can you deal with that? I just make sure that it's the same.
You betcha.
Okay, thank you. And then, so what's highlighted here is recommend that the board issue licenses or permits. I think I put in, the wording was a little different if we changed it from license to licenses or permits. So it's just the wording, the verbiage. And then there's a word of here that didn't make sense to me. Renew a license or permit. You had renew a license of or permit of, and I don't think it needs that, right? Can we just take those out? I mean, this is just pulling hairs, but do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't need the word of,
Yeah,
right?
you're right. Yeah. I don't even know why. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it might have
It
been.
looks like, it
original-
looks grammatic. I think it was just grammatical change.
Okay. Oh, okay. Everything else, I think, is part of Patricia's work product. And we looked at it and compared it to, the existing law, and it all looked good. And then fee license, again, certification gets deleted because we don't give a certificate, we give permits. And we missed this in the rules, phlebotomy now costs $40. I don't know why there was this except as provided in paragraph 3. I don't know, the fee shall be $25. Because it's $40. So we just
That was the
added,
Original cost. of it.
yeah, I know, but why didn't it just say phlebotomy $25 instead of putting it in this? Miss Patricia, if you can see why that was there. I don't,
Okay.
but it's not $25, it's 40. And it looks like the easiest way to do it is just put it as a D.
Okay.
Because it does say here, not to exceed the amounts established in paragraphs 1 and 2 of this subsection. So I don't know if there was something in the law that the phlebotomists, they didn't want to get charged more than $25. I don't know.
Okay. I'll double check because we
Okay.
actually have quite a few inconsistencies between rules and law in some of our fees, and we're doing a whole overhaul.
Okay, so this was where we changed it. It said 7, but we changed it to 5. That's what the committee voted on. An individual whose license has lapsed but has not been actively engaged in the clinical laboratory science. You just say not more than 7, but less than 10. I don't know. It was very convoluted, but everybody voted to have it 5. That was what we voted on. Okay. So Patricia had left it at 7, but we changed it to 5. Okay. And then okay. This is a temporary permit. The applicant's temporary permit is revoked. What's it say? I don't know. I have to read it again in light of what we just did.
This is just a renewal fee section.
No, this is a temporary permit.
Yeah,
It says
it says
renewal
if you
fee.
don't successfully pass the test, it's revoked,
Mm,
which is
Is
correct.
revoked.
Yeah.
You don't
That's what we
revoke,
decided.
no, you don't revoke it when they don't pass it. You let them take it again, remember?
May be granted a
But they
temporary permit
apply.
to engage in library science, period, in the event the applicant
Does not successfully
successfully
complete.
complete the exam, the permit is revoked.
That's not. You give them 6 months so they can take the test more than once. You
Changed.
don't
Yeah,
revoke
we
it.
changed it.
Okay, so we have to fix
That's
that.
why it doesn't.
Yeah, I
matter.
think the intent now is a little bit different. In the event the applicant for a license as all of the different categories does not successfully complete the licensing certification examination within the period, the applicant's temporary permit is revoked, not
Yeah,
revoked.
it's not
if they
actually
fail.
revoked, it just expires of its
Right.
own
Expires.
as a matter of law. Yeah. Okay, we'll fix that.
Possibly
you
that
want me to just
termination
say
without the
it-
revoked or within the period
The
granted. which I guess-
temporary permit. So licensing is, you don't have a licensing examination. That's what Patsy told me. There is no such thing. There are certifying. So that's why I put certifying in purple. There is no licensing exam.
And
So in the event that the blah, blah, blah does not successfully complete the certifying examination within 6 months,
Within the prescribed 6 months?
we just, how about they must pass no, they don't have to pass it. They don't have to pass it. Their license is, their permit's gonna expire at 6 months period.
right?
In the event the applicant.
So how do you say that?
It
The
doesn't
applicant
matter.
can-
When we're
Temporary
referring to it-
permit.
Okay, so we need to go back up to the top. Who has fulfilled the educational qualifications to take the certifying examination
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
There's another one.
may be granted a temporary permit. In the event the applicant does not successfully complete the certifying examination, Is it that they can? fail
Applicant's
one-
temporary permit
don't-
expires at 6 months after.
It
6
doesn't, yeah, it's gonna expire at 6 months, whether they pass their test or don't pass it. It's
Okay.
gonna expire.
Okay, so yeah, just take that out. Just say, the temporary permit expires
At 6 months.
6 months after its issuance, and then a temporary permit
Period.
doesn't. Yeah, perfect.
Because then if for some reason that person, if they pass the test, but they don't apply for a full license, they're not getting it anyway. I mean,
That's right. That's right.
we don't automatically turn that temporary
No.
into a real license, do we?
No,
you
they have to
don't.
go through the whole application.
And you
Okay,
see,
then-
this is another thing that was in this law. It said a temporary permit does not allow the individual to report results. That was wrong. That goes with the trainee. It never went with the permit.
Okay,
Yeah,
Because we already said a temporary permit person can report results. Okay, so
Yeah,
that
that's
needed to be taken out.
okay.
Okay,
Okay, move on.
okay.
Just
Yes.
one more question on this. I know we're beating a dead horse with the poor temporary license.
Okay.
Do you even need the last part at all? Aren't you defining the 6 months already? Do you need the, in the event the applicant for license, blah, blah, blah? Do you need that sentence at all?
No,
If the whole thing goes away,
it just says the.
still have all the
license-
components?
Well, that also says license needs to come out. It doesn't, none of that matters.
You
It's
know,
gonna
the truth
expire.
I
of
mean,
the
because,
matter
I mean, I
is,
get what Gay's saying, because it's not just passing the test. It's going through the process of your application, making sure you have your scores, what.
Yeah.
I think this whole paragraph can be deleted. We could say temporary permit fee, because that's really what it is.
Supposed to be about. We've
It's
already
about
talked about
The
all this.
fee for a temp, because see up here, we
And
have
so-
fees. This is really just a temporary fee. We've
Right.
stopped all this other stuff. So really, we could change all this and we could just start here. The
But
fee
where-
for temporary
Where
permit shall
else do
be.
you say in the law how you can legally, what are the qualifications to legally obtain a temporary permit?
We had it,
Is there it in another place? I can't
I
remember.
think it is. Wait, let me see.
We put it back in, didn't we?
No, it's not.
No, that's where it is. So
That's the
you-
only place it is.
Okay,
So,
all right.
so you need to say temporary permit, an applicant who has fulfilled the educational requirements can get a temporary permit. The temporary permit expires after 6 months of issuance and may not be renewed.
Period.
Yeah.
And then the
Like we
price.
did in the rules, yeah.
So right here, and will not be renewed, and you can reword it,
Yeah, I'll fix
It
it.
needs to
and may
match what we
not
put in the
be
rules.
renewed.
I'll fix
I
it.
think, Patricia, we're maybe splitting hairs about the successfully completing the exam versus in the event the applicant doesn't successfully
We're
complete
taking all that out. We're
the
taking all that out.
entire process.
Yeah, we're taking all that out. We're just gonna say, an applicant who has met the educational qualifications to take the exam can get a temporary permit. The permit expires after 6 months and may not be renewed.
And here's
Perfect,
how much it
okay,
costs.
great, that's good,
And here's how much it costs.
yeah.
Okay.
The fee for temporary permit shall be the fee required for the corresponding license. There is no temporary, there isn't, right?
Wait, can I go back 1 second? Before, the law never, it was not prescribed in the law how long the temporary permit lasted. It was only in the rules. Should we leave it that way in case we ever want to make a change? Because changing the
Yes.
law is a big issue. The change of the rules is a big issue too, but not quite so big. So
If you change that after, once the permit expires, it cannot be renewed.
yeah, and just don't say what the timing is. Leave the 6 month part out. That'll be in the rules. But once it expires in law, that's it.
So what you want to change this is, once the temporary, or we can just say the temporary permit may not be renewed.
Yeah,
It's in there.
right.
Yes, just what we said, but not the 6 month part.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix it, but I think I'm gonna say something along the lines of, may receive, what does it say? May be granted a temporary permit in a duration to be determined by the board rules or something. I don't think we can just say you get a temporary permit without having the law give us at least this authority to limit how long it can last. But I can leave it vague to say in accordance with board rule, blah, blah, blah,
Okay, okay.
for the duration as prescribed in the rules.
In the rules, okay. The fee for a temporary permit shall be the fee required for the corresponding license.
Yeah.
And that's it. We don't have to
That's
say
right.
that.
That's right.
Yeah, okay, well,
Period.
we're done.
Okay.
And then, this was just cleaning up language, medical laboratory science instead of medical. Nobody gets a degree in medical technology anymore. It's medical laboratory science. Oh, Patricia, can we take out if any and if applicable?
You can, I think this was as long as for each one of those categories, there is prescribed.
Or
There are educational and clinical
And-
experience requirements.
Yeah, so if that implies a non-fact, that there
Yeah.
is a circumstance when there wouldn't be.
Well,
Yeah.
the only thing that I can think of is for a lab assistant. They don't need any formal education, but
You're
they.
in the categorical.
Yeah,
paragraph.
you're not.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm in
yeah,
categorical. Oh,
yeah,
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 never
we'll
mind.
take that out. Yeah.
You're right. Medical laboratory, okay. And that, again, you can delete that if any, because there are definite educational and
No
Requirements.
problem.
and
we can do that.
training requirements. Okay, this was the other thing for the lab assistant. We're in that language again about the equivalent or something.
Yeah.
However you want to change
fix
that,
that.
that
Got
it'll be accepted.
Got it.
And then, you wanted to, now this is the lab assistant. Okay, so there were two, they just have to give evidence of competency, but on that list. Or if they do take like the the BOC exam for lab assistants, or I think AMT has one, that's a certification exam. She said add approved by the board. Do you want that, Patsy?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So that they can't just go take any fly-by-night exam, that would be for lab assistants. They either have to give you that list, that checklist, or take some approved exam.
So,
The only thing we asked to do is maybe we took out administered by nationally accredited entity because Patsy said that these, some of these places that certify lab assistants, I don't know, you tell me, I'm not involved in issuing that. Does anybody have any?
Saying that I took out.
You didn't take out anything. Patricia took out administered by a national accredited entity approved by the board, and okay, but you wanted to put a nationally recognized certified examination approved by the board. Can we add that? Is that okay? I don't know.
Yeah, we're not
Is-
gonna accept something that's not approved.
Because if we don't say administered by a nationally accredited entity, this is for lab assistants.
ladies, we got about 20 minutes.
Yeah, okay, well, we're almost at the end. Do we have anything else after this?
We don't have any, we don't need an executive session today.
Okay.
So what do y'all want to do with this? Do you want to say approved by the board? We've said that in a lot of places. I mean, I think
Why
it's,
wouldn't we say it? I don't know.
Okay.
The question.
Does anyone object to having approved by the board in there? Y'all speak
The
up.
problem is the board is not always going to be qualified to make the determination.
Well, we got that all over.
But it would be
Yeah,
Right, but if
recommended
you-
by the committee and approved by
Right.
the
Right.
And they would ask us, I'm sure if they did.
So we'll put that in there then, the recommended by the committee and approved by the board.
Right. But again, I thought you wanted to go to nationally accredited organizations, but that's your change.
That's the lab assistant. There's,
This is for lab assistants.
Well, they
We,
have it, that's available.
yeah, but
for-
you're not gonna.
They're never gonna take the test anyway. Some of them do.
All right, okay.
I've never had one. I'm approved.
So why is this all highlighted? Because we didn't, oh, I know why. Because this was not part of your work product. And when we went to the law, we wanted to be able to change some of the verbiage, requirements to take a certification. You don't take a license examination or needs it, okay? And so this was in the law. But
That I just missed. Yeah, okay,
Just add it.
And then we just changed 10 to 5.
Yeah.
cool.
Okay. And then. Oh, inquiry was spelled wrong. Inquiry. There was just it was just a typo. That's it. Everything else is, I mean, those were the only other suggestions or edits other than what Patricia did. That's it.
And we do need to change, the rules to match the law on the definition of misconduct, I think. That's what Paula said.
Right.
So, and that's
Okay.
it.
But that's not in here. That we don't even have that in this work product. She's got to change that.
Yeah.
all right, so are we at a point where we can take a vote on the, I don't remember how to
On both.
word it, on the proposed changes to the law?
And the proposed edits to the rules.
I don't think there's any point in
Okay,
doing the rules until
No.
the law is finished. 'Cause then we'll
okay,
just have to vote on it again.
okay, all right.
Well, I mean, I think in concept, you can vote to change the rules
In
only
concept.
because
That's-
we're working backwards from the rules to know how to change the law.
Yeah, exactly.
So in concept, if that's the words we want to say,
Yes, yeah, provisionally move to provisionally approve the proposed rule changes pending and subject to the passage of amendments to the law.
Could you say that again? Vote to approve.
The
and
vote to approve provisional changes, vote
Oh,
you're
going
fading
in and
out.
out.
rules.
You're going in and out. I can't hear you. Say it again. Oh, she's gone.
Okay,
Okay.
Say it. No, we can't hear.
Patricia, you faded out. We missed that.
I'm so sorry. I'm on my way to get my little granddaughter. I'm in a bad cell. Move to proceed at the proposed rule changes.
Where are you? Because we can't hear you at all.
I think we got move to provisionally change the rules. And then I didn't get any more.
She said the move to approve the
Provisionally approve.
provisionally proposed.
Approve the proposed law.
That's all I heard.
Well, look, while you're waiting on her, look back at your rules. On subchapter B, licensure and permit requirements. Number 5307 and go down to number 7.
Okay, let me
Says the
share.
individual performing phlebotomy must be on site supervision of a physician.
I'm sorry, where am I going back to, Gay?
All right, so it's section 3507. Go back further. Okay, 3507, number 7. That does not match the law. It says on-site supervision of a physician.
Yeah, that doesn't match what we've just done.
Well, oh, you mean as an exemption to licensure? Because they don't have to get, so this has to be made to match the
Match the law.
okay.
That's coming.
So
That
how do I do this?
Right, so again, but we have to get the law has to be approved before we touch the rules. Which I mean, you can definitely go ahead and update. But I don't think they're gonna both go together. Is that right, Dr. Van? Am I understanding that? They're not gonna go
It's gonna be.
together.
They're not going to go together.
Yeah.
First, the law is passed, then we conform the rule to the outcome version of the law that's passed.
Yeah, so this, it can get changed then. This is just a rule. That they're not gonna see this. The board.
But you are right, that's not going to align with what
No.
you've already dictated right now in the change of the laws. That's
in the
not,
law.
this isn't going to conform to that. It
Well,
will.
it's not really what
It's
we
already
dictated.
changed.
It's already changed. I mean, it
Yeah.
hasn't
But
gone,
it's just
hasn't been
not
published, but the legislature voted on it already.
The law has
Okay, I
been
think-
amended. The final version is not up on the website
Yeah.
because it has not been approved.
Okay, I think I have bars now. So what you would say is you move to provisionally accept proposed rule changes to conform with proposed amendments to the law if passed.
To provisionally accept proposed rule changes to conform with the law.
With the
If passed.
proposed
Passed.
amendments to the law if passed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we need, Ms. Wilton, do we need 2 votes or we need 1 vote on the rules and the law?
I think you should vote. I think you should vote to recommend proposed law changes to the board. Vote. Recommend, and then do the provisional motion to adopt, to recommend rule changes if the law is passed.
Okay. All right, is there any more discussion on what's going on here? If not, I would entertain a motion and second to recommend the proposed changes to the law to the board.
Michelle, you do that.
She lost her internet.
Oh, Michelle did. Okay.
Anybody.
I think she's on a cruise ship somewhere.
Oh, really? Oh, wow, good for her.
Yeah.
So I make a motion, or I move that we provisionally accept the proposed changes to the rule.
We're doing the law.
Oh, we want the law.
We're doing
Okay.
the law. Right now, I'm
Okay.
asking for someone to make a motion to recommend the proposed changes to the law to the board.
Okay, I make a recommendation, that we approve, wait, what did you say, Gay?
Approve.
That we approve the proposed law changes to be submitted to the board.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I second. Belinda.
Belinda,
Belinda.
thank you. Okay, all those in favor of recommending the proposed changes to the law to the board, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? The motion carries. All right, next, we would entertain a motion and second to provisionally accept the proposed rule changes to the amendment to the law if passed. I didn't say that right.
To conform to the law as passed.
To conform to the law as passed.
Okay, I motion, that we recommend that we provisionally, I don't know, I know, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I'm too tired. I can't do it. Say it again.
Provisionally approve the changes to the rule to conform them to the law if the amendments passed.
You move that. I move that we provisionally approve the proposed changes to the rules if the law is passed. Is that correct?
Close enough. That'll get us where we need to go.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second it. It's Tabitha.
I think Yolanda beat you to it. All righty. So we have a motion and second to accept the proposed changes to the rules.
Right.
This is cool.
So,
To
as
conform
they'll
to the law.
conform to the law.
If it passes.
If it passes, as it passes. All righty, all those in favor of the rules as stated, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Thank y'all so
Yeah.
much.
10 to 5, that's not too bad.
No.
Right, so,
no
Miss-
Executive session.
So Patricia, did you say that you were going to clean this up and email it out to us again?
I certainly will. I will clean it up and email it to you all. You can take one last look at it and see if I missed anything or what have you before we submit it to the board.
Awesome.
Awesome, great.
And I will, I'm gonna email you this document.
Thank you. Yes,
Okay.
perfect.
Okay.
All right. If
Thank you,
there's no
everybody.
further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn at 4:50.
I second it. This is Madeline.
Thank you, Madeline. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Okay.
Heard a
Thank you,
couple.
everybody.
Thank y'all.
Thank you,
Any
guys.
opposed? No.
Thanks for everybody's hard work, especially Angela and all the work that she's done.
Oh,
Thank
it's
y'all so much.
Patsy. All right.
And
Well, we'll
Patsy,
see
can't
if
forget
it
Patsy.
comes
Do-
to fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see till we get the next draft. See
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
you
All right.
guys in 2025 for the same thing. No.
Bye-bye.
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Good
Bye, y'all.
night.
Bye-bye.